From the Minster to the city walls and the small streets and buildings within them, York's medieval heritage surrounds us. Known as England's second city, York was medieval capital of the north. Today it's a picturesque small city, but visited by people from all over the world for its history. We are 9 media students, and we set out to explore medieval York to find more about its legacy today.
York is an interesting city because it has its wealth. It has a real upper class, as well as the royal connections and the high levels of the clergy. But also it has a very poor class in the same breath. It's a trading centre, so you get an awful lot of Northwest European different peoples coming into the city and trading here. So we've got people from Flanders, people from France, as well as a lot of people coming from the countryside into the city because it's the main marketplace. So it's a very lively, very busy place, full of people doing their daily business, with a sort of, cream of the crop on the very top of that, generally exploiting them for as much as they could do through taxes and everything else. So it's a very lively, babbling sort of city, I think, and not perhaps a quiet, smallish sort of place that really it is today.
How was York governed in medieval times?
York was quite complex in the way it was governed in the medieval period. You had the control of the king through the sheriff, who was centred at the castle. You had the power of the archbishops and the religious houses in York, of which there were several, who each had their own little areas which they had some control over. But the majority of, or a large part of the town was controlled by a mayor and his council of aldermen, which was drawn from some of the richest and wealthiest families in the city.
Why was religion such a big part in medieval society?
The country was a Catholic country. Religion was very important in the medieval period. Christianity influenced all aspects of your daily life, from when you woke up, what you believed. Things like demons and devils were very real to those kinds of people because it helped them put the world in context, and it just shaped everything you did in your daily life.
Which other religions were there?
For a short time in this country there were Jews, until the 1190s, when there was a big move through the king to expel them from this country, which led to the massacre of the Jews in York. There are other religions which we came into contact with through crusades and the trade with the Near East, but York was predominantly a Christian city.
What happened to people when they died?
That's all very tied into religion. Very different to what we believe now, I think. They had this thing called purgatory. They believed that the soul went into this kind of limbo state depending on how good a life you'd led. This is all tied into religion. So the better life you led, the less time you spent in this kind of limbo state. So a lot of society was geared to helping you get through that. So that's tied in with your craft affiliations. If you were very rich, you could pay for a priest to pray for your soul to help you through. If you weren't and you belonged to a craft guild, the craft would pray and pay for a priest. Your burial would be held in the local church. Not very often would you be buried in a coffin unless you were very wealthy. You'd normally be buried in a shroud, in just a grave, and the graveyards could get pretty crowded.
St Mary's Abbey was the wealthiest and most powerful monastery in the north. The abbey ruins still stand in the museum gardens, and the original chapter house is now part of the Yorkshire Museum's medieval gallery. Around 60 Benedictine monks would have lived here, and more than twice that with novices and servants. The Benedictine order was not as strict as some. For example, there was no vow of silence, but there were duties and rules with punishments for breaking them.
What are the charges against our brothers?
Brother Anselm fell asleep during morning mass. I had to hit him with my stick to wake him up, yet again.
Is this true, Brother Anselm? Have you anything to say for yourself?
I humbly say it's true.
This is not the first time you have been brought before me, Brother Anselm, and it is always for falling asleep. Do you not rest at night?
I've been troubled with my dreams, Abbot. My sleep has been poor.
Then you must visit Brother Benedict in the infirmary, and he will give you his remedy. But the punishment remains. You will spend this afternoon across the church entrance, and your brothers will have to step over you to pass. You may go. And what of Brother Francis?
Brother Francis was seen talking to a woman.
Explain yourself, brother.
I was sent on an errand to buy ink for the scriptorium. In the shop they told me to wait for the green ink. They offered me refreshment, but I refused.
My time is short. Tell me about the woman.
I'd waited a long time when a woman came in the shop. She smiled at me and said I could rest at her house while I waited for the ink. Then I went with her. And she was kind to me and she gave me water to drink.
Did you touch the woman?
No, Abbot, I swear.
Do not swear!
I never touched her. But I talk to her and I think of her. I can't stop thinking of her.
You have impure thoughts.
I confess it.
Brother Francis, you are a man. We are weak and fallen creatures. But you must drive these thoughts from your mind and return to a state of grace. You will use the flagellum to correct yourself.
I humbly submit to your words, Brother Abbot.
You may go, brother. And may God give you the strength to resist temptation.
But some monks longed for a stricter, more simpler life, far away from the temptations surrounding an urban monastery. One night a riot broke out at St. Mary's. 13 monks left and set up the rural Fountains Abbey.
Brothers, are you speaking of me?
No, indeed, Brother Edmund, we spoke not of you.
We spoke of our plan.
Then tell me why you whisper. Is your plan sinful?
We feel sin, but will suffer it no longer.
You speak in riddles, Brother Gregory. Pray, tell me in plain words.
Very well. We plan to leave this abbey and set up our own foundation. We must be free of the corruption of St. Mary's.
The corruption?
Our vows speak of poverty, but our brothers live in luxury. Our lives should be of solitude and prayer, but our brothers are always talking and making merry.
Eating and drinking.
Mixing with women of the town.
And taking money for masses.
It is wrong, Brother Edmund.
Will you come with us?
Will you be true to your vows?
I hardly know. I was but a boy of 14 when I entered this place. I know no other life.
We will speak with the abbot tomorrow.
We will go back to our simple lives, praising God, serving the poor, helping each other.
Are you for us or against us, brother?
I am for you, brothers.
And today the ghost of an abbot, known as the Black Abbot, is said to roam the abbey ruins. Maybe you've seen him.
Religious imagery was everywhere in medieval times. It was a way of communicating messages to people. Brightly coloured and elaborate images depicted on stained glass windows are a good example of this. All Saints Church, North Street, has some of the most famous medieval stained glass windows in the country.
This is the Prick of Conscience window, probably the most famous stained glass window in the church. It's in effect the medieval horror film of stained glass, in that it depicts the last 15 days of the world. It starts in the bottom left-hand panel with the sea level falling, then the sea level rises. After that, the sea goes back to his appointed place, and enjoy that because that's the last nice thing that's going to happen to you. Following that, the fish come out of the sea. Some people call them monsters with those huge teeth, but it definitely says fishes, F-I-S-C-H-E-S, in Northumbrian English. Then the sea catches on fire, then the fruit falls from the trees, Earthquakes, towers and castles fall to the ground, and there depicted in the window is the spire of this very church. Then the sky turns red. All right, maybe that's not quite so bad. We quite like red sky at night. But following that, the people go and hide in holes in the ground to say their prayers in what looks very much like sort of medieval air raid shelters. And just in time too, because in the following panel, everything is wiped out. Earth and sky plain shall be, says the text, and there all the buildings and the cities and so on have gone. In the following panel, people come out of the ground, and then in the next panel, the graves are opened. And they're typical medieval graves, several skulls in each one, and the churchyard here is exactly the same. You've just got to scratch the surface and there's bones everywhere. Then in the top left panel, what I think could be described as the finest piece of stained glass anywhere, it depicts the stars falling from the sky. It's beautiful, but the childlike simplicity. The stars have even left golden shadows in the heavens where they've come from. All quite impossible, of course, as we know that stars are far too big to land on the earth today. And then in the next panel, there's Death with his spear come to mop up anyone who's left. If you're going to have a last judgment, living people get in the way. And in the last panel, what could only be described as a nuclear holocaust, earth, sky, sea, everything has gone up in flames.